Sergeant Davis. I'm the 5'6" Vice President. I'm extremely excited about today's panel, this seminar full of outstanding first sergeants that we have in recruiting service. So Master Sergeant Thorpe reached out to us a few weeks ago, wanting to set up some kind of seminar so him and his panel could come on here and just talk to some of the 5'6", let us know what they got going on, all the cool stuff, and allow us to ask them some questions. So today, before we introduce all the outstanding individuals that's on that panel, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Sergeant Bryant. He's an enlisted sessions recruiter out of the 343rd, and he's gonna introduce himself and our panel of first sergeants. So thank you. Go ahead, Sergeant Bryant.
Yeah, thanks, Sergeant Davis. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully it's good. But yeah, I'm Sergeant Bryant, EA recruiter out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I've been on Tier 1 recruiting for 2 years now. Hopefully looking to stay in recruiting. It's been amazing so far. But yeah, without further hesitation, I wanted to introduce to you our Air Force First Sergeants Council. With each first sergeant would come on and please do a brief intro before we start the Q&A. We'll go ahead and start with the first sergeant. Whoever wants to speak up first.
I'll go ahead and go first. How are you guys doing? First off, man, I want to say thank you. Thank you for setting this up and what you guys do. I always brag on 5'6", man. You guys have been killing it since day one. Always got something going on, man. So extremely proud of you guys. But as I said, Master Sergeant Thorpe from 4-5 Recruiting Squadron. I've been a shirt for going on 3 years now. My original career field is CE, electrician. Married with 2 kids and loving life right now. So I'll pass it on to the next shirt.
All right, I'll go. Hey, I'm Master Sergeant Dan Shumann out here at the 341st Recruiting Squadron in San Antonio, where it's nowhere near as cold as it is in South Dakota. Sorry about that, man. Been in the Air Force almost 21 years, been a first sergeant for 2 years, been in a recruiting squadron for about 4 months. Excited. Want to thank the 5'6" for the opportunity. I've seen a lot from you guys since I've been here, so it's impressive. Kudos to you guys. Keep it up, and thanks. On to the next diamond.
Hey, I'll go. I'm Master Sergeant Bonner from 3-6. I've been a first sergeant for about 3 years now. My background is finance. So married, couple kiddos, out here in Georgia. So Sergeant Thorpe says, loving life. Thank you, 5'6", for having us.
Hey everyone, I'm Sergeant Florida. I'm the first sergeant out here at the 339th in Michigan. I've been in January 3rd to be 20 years. I've been wearing the diamond for 2 years, and I did acting first sergeant for about 6 to 8 months before that. My original background is ComNav, aircraft maintenance, and married 3 boys, 3 dogs, and a cat.
Guess we'll save the best for last. So I started Zolia down here at the 330th. Spent my whole career pretty much bouncing around. Started off security forces, went to recruiting, back security forces, cross-training and contracting, and now I'm a shirt. So yeah, not married, no kids, saving every last bit of my paycheck. So I'll be living the dream when I get out. Yeah, that's pretty much me.
Awesome. Thank you, Diamonds. So basically, I didn't even know we had a first sergeant council, to be honest, but I'm honored to be here with you guys. But yeah, I was going to start with the first question. What is the First Sergeant Council and what is its primary goal?
So I can jump in on that and shirts, add in, chime in, whatever you feel like it. So with the First Sergeant Council, what is the First Sergeant Council? It's a network of shirts. We come together, we advise each other, we mentor each other on different things that's going on within the installation. We pretty much maintain the health and welfare of the installation, being, AFRS or SCGT or, whatever base that is. We have those, like I said, with the network, we have those contacts across the base or installation to get our members things that they need when they need. Yeah, it's not so much. It's not a private. It's not a private org, I guess you would say, so to say. Church. Somebody can chime in on that one. We are dictated by AFI to have a council. So,
Yeah.
anybody want to
Yeah,
add to that?
big thing the council does, a lot of people don't, maybe just doesn't hit them right off the bat. Like a shirt is not an end all be all. For example, Sergeant Thorpe might have done some things that I've never even heard of. So when I run into something that maybe he's done, we can bounce things off each other and help each other out and figure out good solutions to whatever's going on. So it's kind of like a giant support for each other.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say. I was going to pretty much say what Sergeant Zolia said, because you think about it, those that have a history in the business, especially with recruiting, can help new guys like Sergeant Shumann out, adjusting and getting their bearing proper.
Thank you for that
Gotta
answer.
call me out on that one, huh? I just want to add on that typically with our council, it's a little different in the AFRS. Most bases, installations, they'll have a council right there in the installation. And one of the other things they do is the Operation Warm Heart program. We'll get out there, do stuff to raise money, get funds, procure funds, whatever. And the Warm Heart program goes right back into all of our members. Anybody who's struggling for any reason beyond their control. We have a council, we take election, and we say, yeah, we can help this dude out. Let's get him $500. Let's get him and his family $250 for food, things like that. So above and beyond, but ultimately overall, we take care of everybody. And in the meantime, we have our what we call cuss, fuss, and discuss sessions. That's where we network and learn.
All right, I guess that's it for that one. We're going to move on to the second question, if that's all right with y'all. So second question, did you have a choice to become a shirt, and why did you choose to become one?
I'll start with that one. For me, no, I really didn't have a choice. My story's a little different. So I didn't want to be a first sergeant, didn't want to volunteer. So right now we have a volunteer program. It's like volunteer DSD-ish. But when I got picked up as a shirt a few years ago, I was DSD, and I really didn't want to do a DSD. I was fine in finance land. I was a flight chief in finance. I absolutely love finance. So someone else saw something in me. A chief saw something in me and said, hey, I think this is the right job for you. I think you need to volunteer or list this as one of your DSD options to become a first sergeant. So I said, hey, if I got to do DSD, I'd rather be a first sergeant where I can help people just all the time versus having to do my job and as well take care of my airmen. I said, this job I can solely just focus on the airmen. So I did the DSD paperwork and only listed first sergeant as the job that I wanted. So I don't know what I was thinking and how that was going to work out for me, but it was my only option if I had to do DSD. So I listed first sergeant. And I took my chief's advice to do that as well, and was picked up as a first sergeant. It wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to do. It's just because I didn't think I had the right skills and the training. And then when you think of a first sergeant, they have that phone 24/7. I was like, oh my gosh, like this, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. But we're in the Air Force and we're on call 24/7 anyways. So just being a first sergeant is just a little different with having that phone on you a lot, kind of like recruiters do. But really didn't have an option that she said, hey, you have to do it. You have to do DSD. You have to put something there. But the first sergeant option was totally mine, and it's the only thing that I wanted to do.
My story's a little different just because I was an MTI between 2011 and 15. And when it came back to the flight line, one of my buddies was a first sergeant. And I asked him, like, hey, how do I get into that? And he said, obviously, you got to wait your time. But if you truly are interested, plant the seed now with your supervision and let them know that's what you want to be a few years down the road. And between now and then, be a first sergeant within your shop, like help out the airmen, get involved. And that's why I wanted to B1 because when I came back from being an MTI, I went in as a staff sergeant working with airmen, and I came back as a tech working with like staff sergeants for the most part. And I was like, man, how do I reach the airmen too without stepping on the staff sergeant's, the first line supervisor's feet? So using my friend's advice by just getting everyone involved and leading like professional development things throughout just our shop, and then growing it into the squadron helped me. So I planted that seed. And you got to know your job. That's another thing too. He says, make sure you prioritize getting to know your job again. And a few years down the road, like clockwork, they asked, hey, we need an assistant shirt, because normally for large squadrons, say 650 or more, because I was in a AMXS in Charleston, you have a senior master sergeant diamond, then you have a master sergeant diamond. But because of manning, we didn't have a master sergeant diamond, so they pulled out a hide, meaning they pulled from the squadron. And say, hey, we got the spot for you to get started if you still want to be a first sergeant. I was like, absolutely. And just it worked out. So planting the seeds, and as my friend said, be one in a smaller way.
I can go next. So for me, I wanted, this is like my dream job. As an electrician, I was okay. I was pretty good as an electrician, but taking care of my guys, like that's what I got joy out of doing, helping them. So becoming a first sergeant, this, like I said, it was a dream job for me. When I got the opportunity to volunteer to do it, like I jumped all over it. And what kind of solidified it, well, I guess let me backtrack. So as Sergeant Bonner was saying, I knew what the shirt did, but it was kind of intimidating. But that desire for me to help is what got me over that fact, if that makes sense. So I had an opportunity to sit in as the additional duty shirt for my squadron in CE. I hadn't been to a symposium or anything like that. I've held the phone a couple times. The shirt, my shirt there at the time, he trained me and held the phone a couple times, a couple weekends, but he went out on convalescent leave for like 30 days. And my commander found out that I was interested in being a shirt. So as soon as he found that out, he said, well, let's get Tony up here. And I tell you, everything that could happen happened within those 30 days. So after I survived that, like I knew like this was the job for me. The feeling of helping people, man, like you can't put a price on it. And from there, it was a wrap. I put in for it, package went up, we got approved, and here I am.
All right, I'll go. So to me, being the first sergeant, that's the pinnacle. That's where I wanted to get in my career. Back in the day, some of you guys may not remember, but some of you guys, like before DSD, they used to have the special duty application thing, and they had the world tour. I call it the Air Force World Tour, where it'd be a TI, an MTL, and a recruiter going out to all these bases trying to recruit. And I got into the MTL. I was like, man, okay, I'll do that. And I swear, before I finished putting in my application, they were calling me up, saying, hey, can you go to Keesler? So I got the Keesler. I did 4 years down there, and man, it was taxing, it was trying, but it was rewarding. And I thought to myself, well, I can't do this one forever. So what can I do in the future? So left as a tech sergeant, went to my first duty station, really started mentoring my guys, really showing them and seeing the light kick on, seeing them kind of come into their own, mature, as you will. I was like, this feels good. Got picked up, went to Germany, and immediately I was playing bugs in all my leadership years. Like, I want to be a shirt, I want to be a shirt, I want to be a shirt. And finally, I'd say about three and a half years into my tour over there at Ramstein, like, hey, local hires picking up. You in? Like, yeah, sign me up right away. And I got picked up as a shirt, and it's got its trials and tribulations, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, so I've actually wanted to be a shirt for quite some time. My reasons are a little odd. I had a handful of shirts that were just absolutely terrible. The kind that would hang berets on the wall after they kick somebody out. The ones that take pride in all the wrong things. So I made it my mission very early on that I was going to do a better job than they did. Hopefully I am. But yeah, that was my big motivation. When I first became eligible for DSD, I talked to my boss. Like, hey, I really want to do this. What do you think? He's like, well, you've been undershirting for me for 3 years, so yeah, let's rock and roll. And about a week later, I got picked up, and away I went. So this is definitely something I always wanted to do. Being a shirt is one of those jobs where, it's not like filing a report and never seeing the outcome of what you do. Every single thing that we do has a direct human impact on it, and you get to see that firsthand. So it's a pretty awesome job. It comes with its highs and the lows, but I mean, the highs more make up for the lows. So yeah, definitely always wanted to do this.
Awesome. Thank you for those responses, shirts. We'll go ahead and go on to the next question. With mental health being a big thing in the Air Force right now, being a shirt in a recruiting squadron with multiple GSUs and knowing the stress that comes with the job, how are you making sure your recruiters and their families are being taken care of as far as mental health?
I'll start this one off. Me personally, that's probably the toughest part about being in the GSU is not being able to walk outside your office and see the squadron. So for me, it's been just trying to build those relationships when we do talk beyond the Zoom. So I do a lot of calls. When we were allowed to travel, I tried to travel a lot. And then when I do talk to the members of the squadron, I'm not afraid to let them know some of my experiences that may have, for lack of better words, may have been shitty and that have depressed me and brought me down to a place. And some people ask like, hey, should you be sharing that? It's like, why? They're willing to come to me and share some stuff like that. Why wouldn't I let them know some of the stuff I've been through? And I would like to think I've built some bonds and some credibility and maybe some trust with the squadron for them to come to me. I think when I first came here, the phone didn't really ring. And as I got to know people, now I get calls and texts all the time. And I think that's a sign that people do feel comfortable. But overall, it is probably the toughest part about being a GSU is not being able to, like, say my guy 5 hours away, if he's having an issue, it's not as easy as going over to the next office.
I think he hit it nail on the head. For me, it's that trust. If you don't trust me, then you're not going to bring me issues. Like you're not going to tell me what's going on. So I have to make sure that you trust me, and I have to show you that, hey, I'm not perfect. Just like he said, human things happen. We work through it together. Some of those emotions that the recruiters are feeling, or the leadership is feeling as well. But we come with this mask on, sometime, and you think that we're not going through it or whatever. But the truth is, like, those feelings, we all feel them. So helping them get through that, and helping them to know that they can trust us, or trust me, is important. And communication, communicating with the flight chief, making sure the flight chiefs are letting us know what's going on as well, because like you said, we, especially now, like, we can't be everywhere. Some of us can't travel. So it's definitely a hard task to wrangle, but trust and communication is key for me. Building those relationships so they feel, comfortable sharing with me.
Yeah, absolutely on that one. And building a network for them too. So like I said, I've only been here about 4 months, and I've got a lot of people coming out to me. And there's a lot of people that feel more comfortable with each other. So social media is a big thing too. It's like, I urge people, like, get on the pages, bring your spouses in. Because it's not just the members, right? It's the spouses. Sometimes the spouses need help, and sometimes whatever the spouses are going through are affecting the member because the member can't focus. So networking, researching, making phone calls, asking questions, calling up TRICARE. It's like, hey, what's in the local area that I can send these people to? Things like that. So digging and researching and looking for these options, letting these guys find these outlets, and all the meantime, letting them know that you're there. We got these phones, and they ring all the time, but they can ring whenever they want them to ring.
So it's definitely tough. I know, like with us, we cover the whole country, so I lean heavily on the flight leadership. Obviously, they're gonna have eyes on people a lot sooner than I will. We also put in a couple new programs where we just call random recruiters, myself, the chief, and commander, just see how they're doing, see how their day's going. If the conversation isn't going anywhere, it gets kind of awkward, then we just start talking about random things and hopefully build that trust up that they can just, if they're having problems, let us know. A lot of our people do feel comfortable coming forward and saying stuff to us. But yeah, that's communication is the key, especially when you're not allowed to travel and you cover such a large area. Building that trust and letting people know they can come to you with anything they have going on.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I've noticed that too within the last 2 years for my shirt at least. Communication. Oh, go ahead, Pam, if you want to say something.
No, it's fine. It's gonna be it's gonna be repetitive anyways. But just as every other shirt has already said, communication, connections, just making sure you're connected. I lean a lot on my flight chiefs to give me that information that I need, and not just for the member, but for their family members as well. But once those relationships are built, that comfort level is there, that trust level is there, people come to us, and then we're able to offer those resources that everyone knows just going to the shirt because they have all kinds of resources. Then we're able to offer those resources, and then just finally letting people know that it's okay if you need help. Like, we're all not great all the time, and sometimes what's best is to get help and just to take care of ourselves, especially during the COVID times, all the time. But then during COVID times, it's brought upon some extra challenges, especially for the recruiters out there. But again, just communication and connections will help.
Awesome. All right, I think we'll go ahead and go on to the next question. This one, what kind of childcare programs are there to help recruiters at GSUs?
I'll jump in on this one. Church, help me out if you got something I don't have, but I know this is an issue that AFRS is looking at across the board, because it is a lacking area. They do have grants out there to help out, and that's with me talking to our Family Readiness Center here. Please forgive me, I don't have the name and stuff of it now, but I know there are grants out there. But I know that is an ongoing issue that we are looking into, because the further you get away from your main base, the harder it is to get that help. So, Church, you got anything else to add to that?
I think you're looking for childcareaware.org. That's what you're looking for. So yes, this is an ongoing issue, and I'm actually running up. Got a survey out there that everybody should have their shirt shared with them to find out the issues with the child care issues. One of the things that I ran in, just doing a little more research on childcareaware.org, is whether or not these child care facilities accept it. Some of these learning on some of these responses that some of these child care programs offered out there to GSUs, they don't know about childcareaware.org, or they don't accept it, things like that. So we're working it. We're collecting information. So I encourage all of you guys that are listening to please provide your survey responses. And we're going to be presenting something up to the general at some point. Now, can I promise that it'll have the outcome that everybody desires? No, I can't do that. I don't promise anything. I learned not to do that in my Air Force career. But we will make it noted, and everybody will be aware all the way up the chain of leadership.
So there's a couple things. Was it the National Military Family Association and then OneSource? they'll actually help offset fees. I know it doesn't really help if you don't have anywhere to go to, because you won't have fees if you don't have anyone watching them. But there's a couple programs out there that do help to offset the fees for that stuff. I know with the 330th, I shoot that out to my guys all the time. But yeah, everyone out there should be aware of these by now.
Yeah, I got nothing to add. It's what they said.
Same thing. There was a statement on the chat. I heard child care only is authorized with federal fingerprints of all their employees, not just state. That's the biggest hurdle to get over with approval. That is correct.
All right. Do you have anything else to add to that question? All right. I think we'll go ahead and go on to the next question then. It is, what is the best way to prepare yourself for a Master Sergeant board?
Hey, so I'll jump on this one first. So I'm actually working with a couple of my guys on this now. The thing people got to remember is in recruiting, like everybody does the same thing, right? Staffs, techs, if you're tier 1 master, everybody does the same thing. What you have to think about is how you do that one thing compared to what everyone else does, right? Even if all things are equal, if you have an innovative way of doing it, share it with your team, right? Because now you're benchmarking new processes, and that puts you one step above your peers, even though you guys are still doing the same thing, right? I'm not necessarily talking about going out and building houses for the homeless, but you can even look at what you're doing now. And if you're doing something that is super effective that no one else is doing, benchmark it, share it, and rack it up, right? So now that's one step above. The other thing is, I talk to my guys, try to be a leader in your flight. One of the things I keep hearing is, well, a flight chief, or, there's just no opportunities. But the thing is, there are always opportunities. If you have a flight mate that's struggling, help them, right? Help train them up, help guide them. It doesn't take a whole lot, but I guarantee that if you have a flight mate struggling, the rest of your flight's probably not helping them either. So take that time, reach out, and help your peers out. Those are two of the biggest, easiest ways to set yourself apart, and it doesn't take a whole lot of extra effort because you're already doing it. I'll let some other shirts jump in on that one.
I can piggyback off of that. With the leading issue, I've heard that as well. And my thing is, like, you have to think outside of the box. So when it comes to leading personnel, it doesn't, if you're not that flight chief, look into the private corps, look into other avenues where you can lead. It doesn't just have to be, it doesn't say, we're not saying just to lead at work, like right here. Of course, that is great, but look at other avenues to do that. Think outside of the box. With COVID, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because now we have, and I know AFRS has been operating like this, but now you have main bases operating with Zoom in this virtual world. So reaching out, getting involved in these other private corps and different things that's going on, and leading in that way. You don't always have to start at the top or, be that flight chief. You just got to think outside of the box. And some people are probably already doing some of this stuff and don't even realize it. I can tell you, like, something that I didn't realize a while ago that I capture now is like church. It's something that I love to do. And I lead in church, and I didn't see it that way until I had a supervisor explain that to me. So I think you think outside of the box and take advantage of this environment that we're in now, because everybody's doing it, So take advantage of it, and stretch your wings. Get outside of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. And look at the enlisted force structure. Look at the definition of master sergeant. What does a master sergeant do? And then you should be writing your EPRs and your packages like that. I've always been brought up that you write to the next level or to the rank that you're trying to procure. So leading, managing, overseeing, as long as you're capturing that as long as you're doing it and capturing that kind of stuff, and at the same time capturing the impact. So when they brought up the example of you got a member that's struggling, well, you took that member under your wing, you mentored him, you showed him his limb facts, and you showed him where to succeed, and now he's one of the highest producing EA recruiters in AFRS. Capture that, because you took that time out to lead and mentor that person. He's doing awesome now. So that's my 2 cents on that one.
Yeah, and I would just add, make sure your records are correct. I know when I finally became aware of what my records were, I realized how bad they were as far as like even job titles. I had at one base like 6 different titles. It was because like every year my supervisors would update my title to the same title. So when I finally looked it over and curtailed it to the way I wanted it to look based off of sitting down with chiefs and, hey, can you look at my package and see what you read of it? I noticed it got a lot cleaner and a lot better. And then going back to Sergeant Shumann, writing, I think, is everything. I know it's pretty popular. I'm not going to say in recruiting, but I'm saying just in general, in my experience, that people will write somewhat of a bullet and then pass it on to their supervisor in hopes that their supervisor is going to fix it for them. But if the supervisor has 3 or 4 other recruiters, you're probably going to get a copy and paste bullet. So just taking pride in your own stuff and making it look good and then passing it up versus hoping that someone will make it look good for you. But records. It all starts with records.
So the next question kind of goes off the same thing as what we were just talking about. With stratifications being as minimal as they are within recruiting, what are some things to make yourself stand out and help you get promoted?
I'll say one of the things I think, like I didn't get shredded. I haven't gotten shredded the past couple of things, which is totally fine. But I wouldn't let that discourage you if you're not shredded. I think also your bullets shouldn't just say how cool you are. It should talk about how you helped other people be cool as well. Like, how did you help others? And I think, if anything, you can at least go, if you don't promote, at least you knew you were doing what's best for the people around you and not just a self-serving manner.
Hey, what's a stratification? I'm just kidding. So I definitely, one of the things I've seen, and like Third Flood, I've never seen a strat, but the bigger broadening impact of the things that you do. So cool, you went and helped out your work center. What'd you do for the squadron? What'd you do for the AFRS? What'd you do for the installation that you were at? Where was your impact on that? What was your role? I think those are the things that do the set aparts that helps out.
I can add to it. So I'm gonna starting at home first. So one, you got to know your job. You got to be proficient at your job. 2, whatever you're doing, you bloom it where you plant it. You have to be doing a good job there, mastering that first. 3, and think about this, if you're competing with your peers that are across AFRS, right? You cannot just stay in your squadron and doing just your job, right? And everybody else are involved in stuff in AFRS and everywhere else, base equivalent. Just like Sergeant Shumann, Master Shumann said, you have to be involved. You have to stretch your wings. You have to get out of your comfort zone and get involved in some of those things. I'm not saying that you have to do something that you don't like or that don't interest you. Do something that interests you, but get involved outside of the unit after taking care of home first. Taking care of home first is the most important. So don't get that twisted. You take care of home first and then get out and get involved. And another thing, when you're looking at boards, you look at stratifications and stuff like that, you have to look at it as a whole. It's not a 1 year, I'm gonna do this and I got it. No, it's sustained superior performance. That's why it's so important to do a good job at whatever you're doing across the board and keeping that battle rhythm up, right? Because if I'm looking at your records, I can tell if, you sort of say had a good year, that's cool. But one of your peers had a good 5 years. It may not have a strat, but he sure was killing it. So you can see that, right? So just make sure, like I said, you're blooming it where you're planting it, sustain superior performance, and you're reaching outside of your squadron. You're competing where you're trying to get there. If their stratification is what you're looking at,
All right, thank you. I think that one, y'all hit the nail right on the head with both questions, the last one. So we'll go on to the next question. I guess this is more personal from each of your experiences. What is one pro and one con about being a first sergeant?
Ooh. One con, carrying around 2 cell phones and one of them doesn't stop ringing in the middle of it. Hands down the biggest con. The best part of it is helping people. Like, I know it sounds super, like, I don't know, happy-go-lucky, but there is no better feeling than when you actually have someone in your office with a life-altering problem and you fix it, or you help them fix it, or you collaborate and you fix it. 2 a.m. phone calls, bad. Helping people, good.
Go. Same thing. Taking care of people, taking care of your airmen. That's the best part. It's the most rewarding part. And even if you can get a thank you out of it, like that's even better. It's small things that we do daily for people all the time, and then that one email back from somebody you helped 6 months ago for something that maybe I felt was minor, wasn't that important. To them at that point in time in their life, it mattered. It meant the most. And knowing that you can have that type of impact on someone's life by being a first sergeant, it's an amazing feeling. Absolutely love this job and love that part of the job. The part that I probably wouldn't like so much is that people go through things and just some of the situations just are not that great of situations. Family situations are always hard. So whether it's deaths, hospitalizations, those situations are always hard. And it's even worse when you're the person trying to deliver that news through Red Cross notifications. So just being the bearer of bad news is always a bad part for me as being a first sergeant, but I absolutely love taking care of our airmen.
Yeah, I would say the worst part, I get the phone ringing thing, especially in AFRS. And because not only, like, say, for example, me, not only on the AFRS chat, but I'm also with the 360th group chat, and then with the Right Pack group chat, and then just any other side chats that are going on, and then the squadron chat. So you tend to develop the phantom ring. So I don't know about you guys, but like the leg feels like it's vibrating. So you're constantly feeling it, like it might be your phone. That could be the worst. But as far as being in a recruiting squadron, the worst part of it is not being able to hang out as much as one unit. Coming from an airlift squadron where they hung out all the time as a squadron and did a lot of things together, that was pretty cool, and it built a lot of camaraderie within the unit. Whereas with the recruiting squadron, you can only get together so much, and then when you do, say for example, me, the chief, the chief, the pro suit, the commander, we went out because someone got promoted. So you drive 2 hours, you do your 15 or 20 minutes of acknowledgement and getting to know everybody, but then say the chief's already got something out there planned to hang out with everybody, then you leave. That's awesome that he gets to hang out, but driving the 2 hours to hang out for 20 minutes, it's like, man, I wish we could instead drive 20 minutes to hang out for 2 hours. But that would be the worst. The best part is, like they said, the people and working and being trusted Like, I can't believe someone trusts me to help, and that's why I respect it and want to make sure I do my part. But then I think one of the perks, besides in Charleston playing once a month against ALS and volleyball, is getting to see behind the scenes, like what the conversations are being had. Even if you're not a part of them, they want the first sergeant in the room. So seeing how decisions are made has been pretty cool.
I think they hit it, hit everything on that. I think another thing like a perk is seeing the networking ability. The networking ability we have is amazing. Like there's nothing on the base that like we can't give information on. So and I mean that like getting information for you guys or whatever the case may be. Like there's no rock that is unturned that we as a network, as a brotherhood, brother and sisterhood can't get the information on. Con, I would have to say it can be a lot of administrative paperwork in whole, right? Not so much here, but you got like other units where you do commander's calls and things like that, and it can get tasking with paperwork and stuff like that. But I think they hit it on the head with all the other stuff as well.
All right, we probably got about 2 more questions left before our time runs out, but I'm gonna ask these two. These ones seem pretty important. Let's start off with, please clarify First Sergeant's role and position. Basically, it's a 2-part question. Are you an advocate for the commander to the enlisted force, or are you an advocate for the enlisted force to the commander?
So I'll start. So as the first sergeant, and then you guys can help me out. So as a first sergeant, we're an advisor to the commander. So I'm going to provide the commander any advice on the health, morale, welfare, discipline of unit personnel. And again, we only advise. So, sir, this is what I think. I am more connected to the force, more connected with the people than the commander would be. So this is what I think. This is my advice. After reading whatever regulations, gathering whatever information, as Sergeant Thorpe mentioned, our resources are plentiful. So reaching out to all these other people, this is the information I have. I'm going to advise you to do this. Also keeping in mind, at the same time as I'm advising the commander, the commander's role and my role to help him is to maintain good order and discipline of the unit. So it's not that we just look out for the commander, but we do want to keep our bosses out of jail. But at the same time, it is my job to support the member. So no matter what it is that you're going through, I can advise the commander, hey, the correct action for this member is XYZ. However, as my member goes through this action that's brought forth by the commander, it's my responsibility to support my member, to help them out, provide them resources as necessary, and guide them along the way through whatever it is that they're going through.
To add on to that, what Sergeant Bonner was saying, like a lot of times I don't think people realize, and this is the part that like the least about the job is when people get in trouble, and if somebody gets in serious trouble, the shirt is going to be what should be that person that's with them from beginning to end. Regardless of the situation and what they did, the shirt is going to be beside that person, with them to the end of that situation, and making sure that everything is done above board when it comes to disciplinary actions and stuff like that. But Sergeant Barner, she pretty much said it all as far as what we're supposed to be doing in that shirt role.
Any other remarks for that question? All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the next one then. So I guess this is a big question for a lot of people who are trying to be first sergeants. What does the application process include for a first sergeant special duty package? How many tours can you do as a first sergeant?
So I know they just updated the application for it, so I'd have to go back into my purse and pull it to tell you exactly what's in it. Maybe one of the other shirts, I've seen it recently, can tell you. But a shirt tour, it's 4 years. If you make senior, you can tack another 2 years onto that. Obviously, you can do extensions. Like for example, I'm applying for a 1-year extension so I can retire with the diamond. But I believe 6 years is the max you can do. So it's 4 years and then a 2-year extension or a mandatory 2-year extension if you make senior. And I know one of the questions on here is kind of related to that. Can you be a first sergeant after being a recruiter? And yes, you can if you do the waiver process. So kind of related to it, so I'll throw it in there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add on to it, because I was an MTI and I was like, hey, I'm really interested in this. And they said, well, you got to wait. And that the AFI read 3 years, time on station, time back in career field. And it was like day one, year 3, day 1, I got picked up. So I had to wait at least 3 years before anything happened.
And one thing to add on to that with that process is, one, symposiums, but 2, making sure that the job is the fit for you. So holding the phone is essential to understand what the shirt does. Having that crosstalk with the commander, knowing what your role is, with the commander, as we just said, being able to communicate to people. There's a lot that goes into it, and so to say behind the scenes that people don't know. So holding the phone is essential to the first step, essential first step, becoming a first sergeant. You may on the surface see it and think that it's for you, but it tells a different story once you hold the phone and stuff is happening, and you see the involvement that you have to do with that.
And I'll also add that, especially I've had this experience with recruiters too, specifically. We had a recruiter on the flight line. He came back from recruiting. He didn't want to leave. I guess he was doing pretty awesome, but it was an electrician. But I guess because E&E for aircraft maintenance, I don't know if this is across the board, but their manning is really low. So their function was like, no, you can't extend. You can't stay in recruiting. We're going to bring you back. But he came back and he tried to do everything but the job. He was like, well, how can I do this? Or how can I become this? Or family readiness? And it was like, he was worried about everything but his job. So if and when you go back to your jobs, do your job, be good at your job, because you can't say, hey, I'd like to be a first sergeant. It's like, yeah, but you're trash at doing your job. Why would we entrust you to take care of this? So that's just food for thought. I know I seen it happen, and it was like, oh man, come on back, be maintenance for a while, and then worry about that other stuff.
Yeah, I would also add on, make sure you got your family support. Make sure that they're aware, that they know what the first sergeant job entails, how demanding it could be. I know there's been a few nights where I've come home late, just because situation's going on, and I'll just look at my wife and she'll know, so she'll take the kids to go do something. Just so daddy can have some downtime, some decompression time. Yeah, but I strongly encourage, if this is something that you want to pursue, do your research, hold the phone, talk to the commanders, and get your families involved. Let them know.
All right, we got about roughly 10 minutes left. I just want to say thanks to all the council members. Everything y'all explained was awesome. I got all the information I could think of. Well, hopefully everybody else did. I'm gonna look in the chat window and see if there's any questions real quick. I don't think I saw any come up. Nope. All right, do y'all have time for a few more questions, First Sergeants?
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, then I'll go ahead and ask a couple more then. Let's see. We'll go with the next one. What is one thing you wish you knew about being a first sergeant before becoming a first sergeant?
I think for me, it's the level of responsibility, because, you know, before, like I said, becoming a first sergeant, I knew typically what a first sergeant does or what they do, but knowing the level of responsibility that you have, that I didn't know, and, you know, using that responsibly, doing a lot more listening and instead of talking, because things that you say, your actions, people, you know, take that to heart and run with it because the shirt said it. So realizing that, you know, that's something that it's something that you wouldn't know until you have the diamond on and experience it. And putting that diamond on, as soon as you have, I don't care if you just 1 hour fresh out of school, as long as you got that diamond on, you're a shirt. So people expect you to act accordingly and know these things. But that's something that, for me, I learned by experience, like having to go through it and get my nose smacked. So.
I'll say for me, the information that I wish I would have known prior to being a shirt, and it has nothing to do with me actually being a shirt, it's the information that I've received from going through church school, going through training. A lot of the information that is just stuff that you should know as a supervisor, as a flight chief. A lot of the information we give in our first sergeant symposium or seminars, just basic supervising how to take care of your airmen. A lot of the information can just be used across the board. And it's like, man, how come I didn't know this as, you know, Master Sergeant Flight Chief so that I could better take care of my airmen? So, and a lot of it is dealing with the resources that are out there and available, that you just stop by the Airmen and Family Readiness Center and it's like, oh, wow, I could have gotten this information. I didn't need to be a diamond for this. So that was a lot of the stuff. It's just the resources and help that I can do for my airmen that I wish I would have known prior to being a diamond, so I could help them out without waiting to get a diamond on and figuring out this stuff is out there.
Yeah, my thoughts are right in line with Sergeant Bonner's, just because it's almost like I realized how bad of a senior NCO I was until when I became a first sergeant, because it's like, it's almost like a test of what you've learned up to that point. And it's like, man, I start realizing my shortfalls, and it made me work harder to get, not just to be a better senior NCO, but if I'm being put in such a prestige spot, I better get my act together as far as being a first sergeant and serving people. I've always worked with people, but it was like, it's just next level stuff. And I wish I would have gotten better sooner. And I wish that I didn't have to become a diamond in order to realize my shortfalls.
That and I think how much value your opinion, your information is to the commander and some of the command decisions. You don't realize it. You're pretty much like the right hand of the commander when it comes to the enlisted side. And just to know that you could say that one bad piece of advice could impact an airman forever. And the commander taking your word for it, doing his own research, her own research. Like, yeah, I agree. And then you're like, shit, what did I do? You know, I mean, it's in legal means, but you could have screwed this dude for a long time. You don't know. So yeah, how much value is placed on your position? That's not to be exaggerated. I wish I had known that before. Wouldn't have changed my mind, but it was eye-opening.
All right. Sergeant Davis, you know if it's going to cut us off at an hour, or you think we can keep going?
I would say one more question and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, cool. I'll go ahead and ask one more then. Have any of the shirts on the panel been a recruiter? If not, would you have liked to have been?
I have.
Go ahead, Sergeant.
So I have not. I actually wanted to be. Got talked out of it as a staff sergeant, but yeah.
I have not been a recruiter. It has never crossed my mind to be a recruiter. And after being a shirt in a recruiting squadron and seeing all that you guys do, I don't know if it would have been a good option for me anyways.
I haven't been. I was DSD. But since being in the recruiting squadron, I respect the recruiters so much more than what I did. I'll be honest. As an MTI, we talk trash. We talk so much trash about recruiters and what are they sending us. But now that I see there is a rigorous process to it, I'm like, man, I was such a jackass. If I could go back and do the old pull the shirt over the head and start beating me, I would, because it was like, you get so short-sighted and tunnel vision that you don't realize the bigger picture. And if would I change things going back? No, because I was pretty happy doing what I did. But if that didn't happen, I would have been super happy with being a recruiter.
So I did the special duty. I was a military training leader, and just to get you guys back there, recruiters, we used to make fun of the MTIs because we knew they didn't know how to spell recycle, but we thought they could spell washout. Because we would just be like, we would call back the LAC and they'd be like, what is this? Where's the report card there, TI? But no, I had the option of the 3, and I thought MTL was my best fit.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, on behalf of the 5-6, I just want to thank all the first sergeants on the council. We appreciate everything y'all have explained today. But I'm going to pass it back on to the Vice President, Tech Sergeant Davis, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. So I'd like to take this time to just open it up to the shirts. If you have any closing words, want to say anything, some inspirational information, please share, and then we'll wrap up.
Just want to say thanks, man. Thanks for having us on. I hope we get to do something like this again. I hope you guys get positive feedback from it. And reach out to your shirt. Talk to your shirt sometimes. A lot of people look at the shirt and say, shirt, trouble, hand in hand. Not the case, man. We got a lot to offer you guys, and we don't mind doing it, man. Don't mind sharing it. Things we've been through, resources and stuff like that, like you've heard throughout the panel. So I encourage you, reach out and talk to your shirt. But thank you guys again. We really appreciate it.
And I'd like to thank you guys too. And to back on that, so not only reach out to your shirt, man, reach out to each other. Check in on each other. Holiday season's coming up. Some people are struggling. You don't even know it because they wear it so well. But reach out and look for yourself. Don't always wait for us to come and find you. There's possibilities out there. There is ways to grow out there, and sometimes it's right in front of your face. You don't even know it. So I highly encourage you. And if as you're climbing that ladder, reach back and pull the person behind you up.
Yeah. Mimic everything they just said. That's awesome. And Sergeant Davis, Sergeant Bryant, and 5-6 that are showing up here. This is awesome and necessary, especially in recruiting. Try to bring more people to this, because this is the way to build those strong networks, like Sergeant Shumann just pointed out. Because the first sergeant network is strong, and I've been asked by chiefs, like, wow, I'm always impressed with the shirts, and it's like, why aren't you guys even stronger than us? And so it starts where you guys are at, and without the 5-6, where would you be, kind of thing. So thank you to everyone that showed up, and then Sergeant Davis, Sergeant Bryant, and the other shirts.
Yeah, thanks everybody that showed up. I guess not to beat a dead horse, but you guys are some of the luckiest people in the world. Take full advantage of everything you guys have going for you right now. Steady paycheck, a roof over your head. Don't squander it. Just go out there and make the world a little bit better.
And the final time, Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. This is probably one of the most amazing 5.6 I have ever seen, and I've been in the Air Force for almost 18 years. You guys are on it. Continue to do what you are doing. It is absolutely amazing. Take care of yourselves. Take care of one another.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much for being on and sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, your experiences, and everything else. I know everybody appreciates it. The 5.6 appreciates it. And we appreciate everything y'all do day in and day out for us. I know, like you say, trouble, but y'all do so much more. And maybe you don't get the appreciation y'all deserve, but you definitely should. Thank you, Sergeant Bryant, for stepping up today and taking on this role. You did a great job, and we appreciate it. 5.6, we're continually trying to do great things out there, and we want your ideas. This Thursday, we're going to have our general membership meeting, so if anybody wants to come on, information will be on our 5.6 page, Recruiting Service 5.6. If you want to hear this video or share this video, it will go out to our 5.6 page and our YouTube page. So Recruiting Service 5.6, Facebook, go on there, join, see what you can do, because we're here for y'all. We're not doing this for us, right? So definitely share the love, share the knowledge, and let's keep growing and getting better together. Once again, thank you everybody that came on today. And if you need anything from us, please call. Thank you again. Have a great day.